Are you guys there? Hey everybody, good morning. It's a beautiful spring morning out there today. We're going to get ready to start our webinar today. The topic is let's have fun with selecting our kitchen finishes. Hey everybody, good morning. So I'm excited to get that going, and it's nice to see everybody online today. Thank you for everybody joining us. My name is Bob. I'm going to be doing the presentation today along with Cindy Cipriani. Cindy is the co-owner of Cipriani Remodeling Solutions. And Cindy has, I don't know, Cindy, man, I guess decades worth of experience with home remodeling and design. And you've won dozens of remodeling and philanthropic awards. So I'm really excited for everybody on today's webinar to learn all from your wealth of experience. So welcome to the webinar.
Thank you, Bob. It's great to be here.
And I think your mic may be muted, Cindy, so just unmute your mic. There you go.
It's unmuted in my end.
All right, awesome.
Can you hear me?
So let's start out with the webinar here. Hold on one second. I'm going to need to take care of something here. There we go. Okay. All right, so before we get started, I just wanted to go over a couple of things, housekeeping items, and just wanted to, if you wanted to be able to ask any questions, there's a little thing at the bottom of your screen down here for Q&A. So if you're on a computer, just move your mouse down to the bottom of your screen, and you'll be able to see that. And then just if you click on that, you'll be able to type in any question you've got. And we'd love to be able to hear from you on that because we love to make this interactive. We love to get questions and answer them live online. And if you're looking at this on your phone or a cell phone, just tap the screen and that box should show up at the bottom. So if you scroll your mouse down or tap your screen, you'll be able to see that. And please feel free to ask your questions, and we'd love to make this as interactive as possible.
Yes.
We had some previous webinars that we've done on kitchen remodeling, and in those past ones, we just were discussing some things such as figuring out how to choose the right contractor, talking about your kitchen layout and designing an efficient work triangle, how to work with balance and symmetry in your remodeling style, and figure out what your remodeling style is, and all those webinars are available on our website, so you can be able to watch them on demand. And on this webinar, we're going to discuss the choices that you have in selecting your finished materials for your kitchen. So things like your cabinets, your countertops, your backsplashes, your plumbing and lighting, etc. So, once again, feel free to ask any questions during the seminar, and this is what we'll be talking about. We'll get started.
Yes, thank you.
Here we go. We're going to be talking about our kitchen materials, and really, we're going to be talking about the different types of cabinetry and how the cabinets are constructed with the face frame. So Cindy, why don't you take it away and just discuss this a little bit?
Sure. Thank you everybody for tuning in. It's such a beautiful day out. And even though it's exciting that we're in spring now, there's nothing more exciting than remodeling your kitchen, because your kitchen is where everyone spends their time. And it can be a little bit overwhelming when you first start because there's just so many choices. And when you go to start looking, you may not know some of the detail or some of the jargon that designers use. And that's why we thought we would do this webinar to give you some background information so that you can understand and start thinking about what you would want in your kitchen. Now, of course, when you work with a designer, they can walk you through all of these steps, and that's what our designers do here at Cipriani. But really, the main thing in your kitchen that you want to start considering is your cabinetry. So there's several different types. You'll hear things like framed and frameless cabinets. So framed cabinets are ones that, if you think of a cabinet as a cube with one side missing, the front is that missing side. A framed cabinet actually has like a picture frame nailed to the front of that cube. And so sometimes if you have large dinner plates or things that you want to put in there that are rather large, depth wise or even width wise, if you get a smaller cabinet, they may not fit in there very good. A frameless cabinet is that cube that doesn't have the frame attached to it, which means that the doors are going to be different. So on a framed cabinet, the doors are attached to that frame. The frameless cabinet, the doors are attached to the inside of the box. So we have a picture here of what a traditional overlay would look like on a face frame, which means that you would actually see some of that frame peeking out from behind the doors. And if you have an older kitchen, your kitchen probably looks like this. And then the frameless one has a full overlay, which means you cannot see any frame behind the doors, and that's because there isn't one. You can also get framed doors that have a frameless look by getting a full overlay. Now on a full overlay frame door, you will see a little bit, maybe a 1/16 to 2/16 of an inch of that frame around the cabinet. So depending on the look that you want, these are things to consider when considering your cabinetry construction.
Awesome, Cindy. And just out of curiosity, is there any difference structurally between these two? Like why would somebody put a face on it versus frameless? Is it just for looks, or is there any other difference?
Well, the ones with the frame are going to be more sturdy, because you are going to have that frame that's holding the box together, and therefore it wouldn't rack either way. So frameless cabinets, you have to be careful to buy them from a reputable manufacturer, because they will make them of sturdier material. If you go to some manufacturers that make frameless cabinets that are very inexpensive, you're going to have a problem with them staying straight and plumb.
Good point. So I guess you wouldn't want like a frameless one made out of particle board or something with a veneer on it, right? Because it would not be too strong then. Okay.
Yes, absolutely. And, if we go to the next slide, I think we were talking a little bit about, here we go, door materials, and that's where this comes into play, depending on what type of materials that you want. So the main ones that people consider are solid wood and the medium density fiberboard. So when you're speaking to a cabinet person, you may hear them say MDF. And a lot of times people don't know what that is, and they think they do. They think they know, but they don't.
I guess you can jump into discussing what the pros and the cons are of each one of those then.
Yes. So many people say, well, I want good cabinets, I want quality, I want solid wood. And so there are many types of solid wood cabinets. There's 25 different species of wood. There's all different grades. And if you're going to want a kitchen that has any type of stained cabinet, you would want a solid wood door. Now, the picture that's on this slide has a raised panel door. Maybe, Bob, you could point to that, what I mean by raised panel. In the center of the outside frame, there's a panel that is raised, it's pronounced. And so a lot of cabinetry, you will now be replaced that raised panel with an MDF panel. Now that might get a little confusing, but I'll go into that in a minute. But again, if you want a stained cabinet, like the ones behind me, they are solid wood cabinets. They're always in style. They have many different colors. If you love the grain of wood, like I'm a huge wood fan, and I love to see the grain in wood, then definitely you would want solid wood. It also is a little bit more expensive and a little bit more high maintenance, and it does react to humidity. So some doors in the frame of the door, the one that we have pictured there does not have this, but they will have diagonal edges, yes, that go across like that. And what that means is that during high humidity or temperature changes in your house, these edges can come apart just a little bit. You know, all wood is going to expand and contract with what's going on in the temperature and humidity of your house. And so you really don't notice it at all if you have a solid wood door that's stained. But if you have a painted door, like a white painted door, if this edge, if this corner starts to come apart just a slight bit, you will see those lines in the door. And that's why MDF, which is what we're going to talk about next, kind of comes into play when you're working with a white painted cabinet, such as the one in this picture. So MDF is short for medium density fiberboard. It does not mean it's a cheap door. What it means is that they have taken real wood, they have broken it down from hard and soft woods into fibers, and then they put it together, they compact it with resins to keep it together, forming a solid surface. And actually, this is harder, and it also does not react to heat or humidity. And so having a raised panel door or even a flat panel door in the center of your cabinetry is actually going to not show those lines. And if you're painting, it does not have any grain in it. So you won't see any grain, you'll just see a very smooth surface. So if you're going for any color that's painted, an MDF would probably be recommended. And like I said, it does not mean that it's a cheap door. It actually is engineered to hold up even better.
Good. And I guess in the next slide too, when we start talking about door styles, we'll see some of the differences with MDF too, because MDF, you can really, this can only correct me if I'm wrong, this pretty much can only be routed unless you get like a 5-piece MDF, right? And then we can build some of this up.
Yes, so there's different ways that they manufacture their doors also. A 5-piece means that there's 4 pieces around the frame, and then you have your panel in the middle. It'd be 5 pieces. Like so those mitered corners is where you're pointing right now, is what I was talking about, that are on an angle and may open or close just very slightly with the temperature and humidity in your house. This shows many different door styles. So there's raised panel, there's a flat panel called recessed. There's slab doors, which means that it's just one solid slab of wood. This would be in very like ultra modern kitchens. They have slab doors. And then you have applied molding. Applied molding is where they take a molding and they actually apply it to the front of the door. So instead of the door being flat, you actually have this raised molding that goes around and really gives that dimension to the door. This is my absolute favorite door style, my personal one, because when you look at all of your cabinets together, it does give you the dimension of those doors. And you can get this with a raised panel, and you can also get it with a recessed panel. And then we have the Mortise and Tenon, which, like Bob mentioned, is a 5-piece construction. So you're adjoining the stiles and the rails at a 90-degree angle. And 1-piece MDF is that medium density fiberboard that is painted. And they actually, when they make it, will kind of stamp it into a pattern. So it's not 5 pieces put together, it's 1 piece. And therefore you don't have that expansion or contraction at the corners. And next to it is the 5-piece. So many different styles. The best thing to do is look online or in catalogs or, pictures of all different types of cabinetry and start saving the ones that you like. It's funny because when we start working with a lot of people, they'll say, I have no idea what I want. and they'll go on House or, you know, a website, and they'll start saving pictures of kitchens that they like, and don't even realize that there is a theme, that they're usually picking the same types of cabinetry that their eye is attracted to.
Awesome. And then is there, I guess, too, one as a designer, because I've run into this problem before too. Like if you don't lay this out right, you can have problems with your drawer boxes with the heights, because obviously this has to have a certain height in order to get your decorative moldings or your panels done in here, right? So I guess that's one reason to have a designer come in to make sure that that's all laid out right.
Yeah, actually, that does have something to do with the handles, how you're going to open and close your drawers. So when you look at different door styles, don't just look at the door. Make sure you look at the drawer fronts also, because the drawer fronts are smaller. And so sometimes, like in the picture on the bottom left, there is a raised panel door, but the drawer does not have the raised panel. It has a flat panel in there. So some of them do and some of them don't. It just depends on the style that manufacturer is making. Some people like that, some people don't. It depends on whether you're using knobs or handles. With a applied molding, you may have to make sure that you have a handle that sticks out far enough that your hand can get underneath it, because you have kind of that recess behind that applied molding. So I know it seems like knobs and handles would be way down the road as far as choosing things, but it is a consideration in choosing your door style.
That's great, Cindy. I guess all those little details are what it's really important to have a designer helping you make all these selections so you don't make mistakes with any of that, because there's so many things to consider and think about.
Yes.
Awesome. All right. Well, I know a lot of people have cluttered kitchens that probably drive them crazy. So, like, what are some things that can be done to help clean things up and to help people organize? If their kitchen is cluttered, how can a homeowner help to plan for storage?
Every kitchen is different. Every homeowner is different. Every kitchen that we go in, we take an inventory of what the people have, because how can you design a kitchen without knowing what people are storing? Some people have loads of canned goods. Other people have a lot of plastics. Some people really love cooking with spices, and they'll have a whole cabinet full of spices. And other people say, yeah, I use salt, pepper, and oregano. Yeah. So everyone is different. This, to me, is the exciting part, is helping people get organized in their kitchens. And now there's all types of pull-out trays, knife block inserts. There are pull-out trash cans, so that you don't have to have that trash can sitting out in the middle of the room. There's spice trays, and also pull-outs that could be right next to your stove, so that all of your spices and oils are right there in a pull-out. There are cutlery dividers. Instead of doing pull-out trays, you can also do drawers, which gives you a lot more space for your pots and pans. So all of these conversations have to be taken place. It's not just a matter of, okay, my wall's 8 feet long, this many cabinets is going to fit on the wall, let's just put cabinets in that fit. It actually, a designer is going to be looking at what is going in all of those cabinets. So when you move back in your kitchen, you have a place for everything and everything is organized.
Excellent. Yeah. And this next device here, I thought was pretty cool. Because I know in our cabinetry, in a corner back here, this area back here is dead and it's hard to get back to things. So I thought this device was pretty cool, but I have a little video to show you how it works.
Cool. So these are blind base cabinets, it's called. And where you don't have room for a lazy Susan in a corner, you can actually be wasting about 4 square feet of space in that corner. So if you have something like this, which is a blind base pullout, then it easily will bring those items out into your reach, and you can pull out the tray and get them out without having to crawl around the corner. In a lot of older kitchens, that's the first thing people complain about is I have all this wasted space in my corner and I put like my big pots and pans back there. And when I need to get them, I'm down on my hands and knees,
Right.
I'm crawling inside the cabinet. I can't see, it's dark in there. I never use them because I even forget that they're there. So having a mechanism like this that's easily installed in a blind-based cabinet can really make 4 square feet of space, which is a big space, usable.
Yeah, I guess it keeps homeowners from getting into a very unglorified position trying to get your pots and pans down there.
Yes, and you know, as we age, which I don't know about anybody else, but as I'm aging, you know, you want quick access to things. You want to be, you don't want to be down on your hands and knees trying to get things out that maybe you don't use every day, but you still want access to them. So the more convenience you can build into your cabinetry, the better.
Awesome. All right, well, we're going to start talking about some countertops next. And there are a lot of things to think about and consider with countertops. And so, like, what are some of the considerations that you help homeowners out with when they're trying to select their countertops, Cindy? I know
Well,
this is a big chart. It's very confusing. We'll get into each one of these a little bit, but I just thought maybe if you give a little bit of an overview over all this.
Yes. So there are a lot of things to talk about, and one of them is durability. One of the questions we ask homeowners all the time when they're considering their kitchen is, how long are you going to be in your home? And that may seem like an irrelevant question, but it's not. If you're only going to be in your home a short time, you know that whenever people look for homes, they're going to look for solid surface countertops in their real estate listing. And so people are looking for granite, they're looking for quartz, they're looking for low maintenance, and also for price. So you don't want to, you know, put something really, really expensive on your countertops if you're going to be moving in a couple of years. If not, if this is your kitchen that you're going to have, because most people only do their kitchens about once every 20 years or 25 years, then you want to look for something that absolutely is going to be heat resistant, resist scratches, have durability, not go out of style, and also fit into your budget. And so these are all the different countertops that are listed here. It's a very comprehensive chart. And the other thing is, what do you like? You know, some people like a lot of pattern. Other people want something very simple and plain. Like I said, I am a wood lover, and so I love wood countertops, maybe just in an accent area.
All right, good. So maybe we can jump into the pros and the cons of each one of these types, and we can talk about that for a little bit then. So,
and if anybody has questions as you're listening, please type them in and we will answer your questions. So quartz is the most popular countertop right now. I'm sure you've heard a lot about quartz countertops. There's many different manufacturers out there, and people wonder, okay, what's this all about? So years ago, granite was the thing. Everybody got granite countertops, and granite is mined. You know, wherever you choose a piece of granite, it's going to be different than any other piece of granite that's out there. Quartz is actually mined also. It's mined as quartz, but then it's crushed and it's put together with resins that make it a solid surface. The great thing about this is that you don't have to seal it. It is superior to heat, stain, and chip resistance, and it mimics the look of granite, limestone, and marble. Marble is not great in a kitchen because it's a soft material and it stains. And so these quartz countertops, especially in white, that are mimicking the marbles, are the most popular countertops right now.
Yeah, that's good. And I guess that look has come a long way in recent years too. When they first came out, it was really kind of just looked like little stones kind of put together. But now they really have done a good job at mimicking that.
Yes, they're beautiful. They really are beautiful right now.
Awesome. All right, next is granite.
So granite, because quartz has become so popular, of course, it's a little bit more expensive with demand. So you can get granite countertops that are absolutely beautiful for a little bit less money now than they used to be. And so I always show my clients granite countertops just to give them that choice. And sometimes they fall in love with the lines, the graining, the colors. It's just amazing that these slabs come from the earth. And that always amazes me. Every time I walk through a granite yard and I see these different slabs, it's like, this is amazing that, you know, it came out of the earth and you have a piece of that in your kitchen. So these are semi-porous. They do need periodic sealing, which is not a big deal. It's kind of like putting a furniture polish on. And they also resist heat and are scratch and chip resistant.
All right, you were talking about marble a little bit, so we can dive into some more details here.
Yes. So the picture you have up here is probably the most popular kitchen look right now. It's white upon white upon white.
Right.
And it does have marble countertops. Again, marble is a soft stone. It will stain. And so we do tell our clients, if you have children, if you drink red wine, if you entertain a lot, if you cook a lot and have lemons, like are in this picture, they can etch the marble. And so there's actually a sign off that we have for people who want to put marble in their kitchens, that they are aware of the maintenance issues with it. And because of the popularity, that is why quartz has now mimicked the marble.
Yeah, I guess with the wine example too, you know, if it doesn't take much, right? If you just had a glass set down and it had a little bit of wine under it, you can get rings of wine set in your counter, and it would be, it's not easy to get out, is it?
No, you have to have that marble resurfaced. So you have to really be extra careful. And I apologize. I'm with my dog and it's a beautiful day. So I'm going to try and keep her from barking.
It's nice to have Lexi join us and give her opinion on this. This is no commentary on marble countertops. All right, next is quartzite.
So quartzite is a slab just like granite, and it comes out of the granite. It's mined and it has great durability. It's still like granite, needs periodic sealing, and it is a more fragile material. So a lot of quartzites will have a mesh on the back of the slab, and that is for durability so that it doesn't crack these large slabs when they're moving them around, because it is a little bit more fragile than granite.
Good. And then this is one of the things that you liked having as an accent piece would be a wood countertop.
Yes. A wood countertop, again, has come a long way. They don't just look like butcher block anymore. They have food grade finishes on them, which means that you can actually prepare your food on the wood countertop. And if it is not a non-food grade, it should not be used for cutting. Now, I like to keep my wood countertop looking beautiful, so I always use a cutting board, but I do have food grade finisher on my countertop, just because if something spills over or something like that, I don't have any hesitation of using that piece of food. It can easily scratch, and so if you are the type of person who comes in your kitchen and throws your keys on the counter, you are going to have scratches on your wood countertops, and even spills. You know, you should wipe them up immediately. And it says least durable. I think that because of the maintenance that it has is, of course, wood is not as hard as granite or quartz. So it will last you a lifetime if you take care of it.
Good. Yeah. And I guess the next thing we'll start talking about next would be backsplashes. So I'd love to get your thoughts on backsplashes and any trends that you've seen in the field and everything that you've been designing. So why don't you talk a little bit about that?
Well, backsplashes, again, are being used with full slabs of quartz, granite, and marble, like the picture on the right. It is actually absolutely gorgeous to put a full slab. They are making slabs, they'll actually mill them down to be thinner. And so you can put these slabs on the wall. Little bit harder to put your outlets in those because the outlets have to be cut through that slab. So this, you need an expert who knows how to do this for the installation. But it is a very dramatic look. The other picture on the left has subway tile, which is also very popular. If you want a little bit of color and accent instead of just white subway, subway tiles come in all different dimensions and colors these days. I just put a 3x12 subway in my own kitchen. And again, you can accent whatever color you have with your color grout. So when you walk in a kitchen, you are going to notice that backsplash, and you want to make sure that you're putting something in that pulls all the colors and textures together and also makes it a wow factor.
Yeah, and I get it would you this would be an example too, I guess, of how nice quartz looks these days too, with the veining that they've got in it and how big the slab they can get in your kitchen. And it's cool in this particular example too, how they continue the veining continue through the next wall. So it's really you can really get creative with how you're laying this out and really make this a statement and a showpiece.
Yes, and when you're dealing with marble, quartz, granite, you want to make sure that you're going to a fabricator that really knows their stuff, because I've seen some pretty bad installations. You want to be able to look at it and it looks seamless. You want those seams to blend, and they, have to know where to cut it so that you don't notice that there's seams. So a lot of it goes, you really have to check out your fabricator and make sure that they know what they're doing.
Good. Yeah, and speaking of that last slide on the left with the subway tiles, I remember, tile work back in my grandparents' home. It was this black and white ceramic octagon tile, and you look at these tiles here, like the last subway tile, and even the tile examples in these pictures. They've really come a long way since back then. They've really taken those shapes and done some neat things with them now.
Yes, octagon is back in style, and using marble in the octagons is really popular in bathrooms as well as in kitchens. And it's fun. I think octagon is really fun. You can put it on your floors, on your backsplash, in a bathroom. You can put it in showers. You can use it as accent or the main wall. There's all different sizing. So the one on the left is probably about a 2-inch width, but they come as big as you want. There's octagons that are 18 inches across. So it's a fun new pattern that's mimicking an old pattern. Everything that's old is new again, right?
Yeah. Which is cool. I mean, there's only so many shapes out there, and it's neat to see what they're doing with the different materials and sizes and colors to revitalize them.
Yes, absolutely. And make, you don't have to use it throughout your whole kitchen. You can do, again, an accent on just one wall. There's patterns where you can take these in different colors and mix the colors as it goes up the wall, like behind your hood. So this, again, is where a designer really is the best, way to go, because they're going to have ideas that you may never have thought of that really set off your cabinetry and your kitchen layout. And in this picture is an octagon again. Well, it's not an octagon. It's 6 sides. What's 6 sides? Octagons are 8 sides, right? I should have looked that up.
It is, but like you were saying though, like like you can get octagons up to 18 inches. I mean, this is a picture. I don't know. Yeah, you're right. It's a 6-sided figure. That's very large, right? And this is pretty unique. I haven't seen anything like this yet.
Yes, these have just come out where they're actually mixing different metals in with the marble and creating these stunning backsplashes. Again, you can also use these in bathrooms. You can use these, some of them, you have to be careful which ones, but some of them you can use on the floor. And that's the other thing. Some people say, well, you know, what can I use on my floor? What can I use on my backsplash? When you shop with a designer, they're going to know the difference, because they are manufactured differently if you're going to be walking on them rather than on the wall.
Nice. And then glass tiles certainly have been around for a little while now. So is there anything in particular you like about them, or how do you like to use them when you're designing?
Well, probably, you know, 10, 15 years ago, the big thing was to do a plainer backsplash and then just use these glass tiles as a border that would go all the way around the backsplash. They're readily available like in home centers and things like that. Some of them are even peel and stick. If you had an older kitchen and you just wanted to change your backsplash, you could actually just peel off the back and stick this right on what's there. And
doesn't sound super durable though.
It won't last very long, but it'll give you that little pick me up while you're saving up for your kitchen. So, you know, these are glass tiles. Again, they're kind of going out of style a little bit at this point, but I've used them actually, instead of being horizontal, I've used them vertically. And so you can put your straight tile, subway tiles, and then put rows of these vertically. That looks really fresh and new. And the glass is shiny, and it adds that, you know, a little touch of glamour if you would like that in your kitchen.
Nice. And then this is seems like it's a pretty cool product. It's glass, but it's recycled glass.
Yes, hexagon. That's what it is. It's a hexagon. So recycled glass tile is beautiful. Again, it's going to be mimicking marble. It has a lot of the gray and blue tones that are popular these days. Many different shapes, sizes, colors, and you can vary the look also, again, with the grout. Glass tile takes a special kind of grout. So again, you know, having an installer that knows what they're doing is going to be imperative to that.
Yeah, good point. Because the glass, believe it or not, isn't 100% smooth. It's got a little bit of surface to it, and if you get the grout, if you're messy with the grout, you can actually get grout streaks all over the glass tile. It really does not look good when you're done. So you're right. It is important to have someone who knows what they're doing.
Yeah, even for glass tiles, glass is see-through. So whatever you put behind it, you're going to be able to see. And I've seen where some installers didn't realize that, and it just changes the whole look of the glass because they didn't use the right substrate behind it.
Good point. And then I guess porcelain is starting to get some popularity too because of its durability. And I've always liked the look of stacked stone, but I never seemed like it was never practical for use in a kitchen backsplash because of the maintenance issues. What do you think about this?
Well, I think that it, again, is very pretty. It's that stacked stone look. If you're using wood anywhere in your kitchen, it would be a nice accent to use. And it's these are now washable, so it has a little bit, some of them have a little bit of dimension to it, but it is something that would be more easily maintained.
And in the last section here for backsplashes is just talking about Waterjet tiles. So it looks like you can really get some nice, unique patterns with this.
Yes, there's all kinds of different patterns that are available now. And I love when people want to be a little bit dramatic with their backsplash, or even just in the hood area, because that's such a focal point in your kitchen. Many people are investing in professional appliances, you know, your gorgeous ranges, 36-inch, 42-inch, 48-inch ranges with beautiful hoods. And that area really deserves something spectacular for that backsplash. So these are more expensive, of course. Just a little rule of thumb is that the smaller the pieces in your backsplash tile or in your floor tile, the more expensive it's going to get because of all of the work that goes into creating those designs. If you have a plain white subway tile, you can get them, you know, fairly cheap, just, there's nothing to it. It's like years ago, remember back in the 50s, everybody had a bathroom with a 4x4 square tile. Cheapest thing you could get.
Right.
When these patterns and things started coming in, the manufacturing cost of these has, of course, made it rise. So some of these can go up to over $100 a square foot. So again, shopping with a designer, you may fall in love with something, but they're going to be able to tell you whether it's in your budget, and if not, how maybe to use it just as an accent.
And I guess that price is like you just mentioned, because this isn't something that's printed on here. Each
Correct.
one of these little pieces is actually cut out. This is an individual tile, and it's all laid out like a big mosaic, right? So it must be very beautiful when it's done.
Yes, they're gorgeous.
Yeah.
And with the lasers now, they can do almost anything.
Hmm.
But again, it comes with a price.
Okay. Well, we're going to start talking about plumbing fixtures here, and here's some of this picture. I'm sorry.
Hey, Bob, can you hear me, Bob?
Yeah, go ahead, Max.
Sorry. We had a question from online, kind of after reviewing all those designs, Cindy. They wanted to know if you want to have a design when you're looking at backsplashes for a kitchen design, which pattern or which design or material would you say is kind of standing the test of time when it comes to what is trendy?
Well, your subway tile is always going to stand the test of time. It's been popular since backsplashes started. And now, what I do is I try and use something a little bit different dimension. So it doesn't have to just be a 3x6 subway tile. It can be, some of them are rectangular where they're 6 inches by 18 inches. I've used those in kitchens and they look awesome. So that rectangular subway look is always going to stand the test of time, and it's not going to go out of style anytime soon, as far as we can see.
Good. Anything? And by the way, we are joined by Max, obviously in the background. He just broke through. So if you do have questions, certainly ask them, and Max will ask them online, and we'd love to be able to answer them. So thank you for the question. Please ask some more. All right. Well, we were starting to talk about plumbing fixtures, and this photo here shows some of the latest trends from Kohler. And why don't you talk a little bit about some of the trends that you're seeing out there with plumbing and how you use them for helping people decide what to select as well?
Well, we know that the purpose of plumbing is to get water out of it.
There's a little bit more than that, though, isn't there?
But now we call them the jewelry of your kitchen. And that's because they come in so many different colors, different styles, functions. The one to the left has almost a square base to it and is a little bit more, what's the word I want to use? Transitional type of look. The one in the middle is very industrial. If you've ever worked in a restaurant kitchen, that's where these come from. They actually have these spring-loaded, faucets in kitchens, because they take them across. And I worked in kitchens years ago, so very familiar with these. And when you have a lot of appliances that is that industrial look, this is the type of faucet that you want to put in order to coordinate with that. Does anybody know what the one to the right is? Can somebody type in there? Do you know what that is?
Yeah, it's not given in context, is it? So it's maybe a little bit hard to figure out.
It is a faucet. Does anybody know what it is? Did anybody write in? All right, I'll tell you. It's a pot filler. It is a cold water line that goes above your stove. So in between your hood and your cooktop surface, you can put a pot filler. And it has 2 handles on it, as you can see. There's one on the wall at the bottom there, and that is your on-off kind of safety valve. And then the other one you drag over your pot, and you can use that to fill up a pot without having to carry it over to the sink. They make a great statement in a kitchen because, again, you're looking at that range and hood, and then you have this pot filler on your backsplash. and people who've never seen them walk in your kitchen and they're like, what is that? That is so cool. So we actually, my husband and I just redid our own kitchen after 18 years. And it was a very exciting process. And we actually installed another very interesting faucet. I'm not even going to tell you where, but it's really cool. It's something you use every day. There was always a pain, no longer a pain. It's going to be a mystery. We'll see if people can guess what it is. But my husband put it in our kitchen, and I'm just, it's like so exciting. And everyone who comes in is just mesmerized.
Wow.
So you can
I can't wait to find out what this is, Cindy.
So you can get away with plumbing fixtures and think outside the box. Also, even if you want a prep sink, you can put a prep sink in your island or in another part of the kitchen. And a lot of the manufacturers have smaller faucets that match your main faucet so that you can have a secondary prep area.
Yeah, and I love what you were talking about too, about the styles with each one of these. This being more of a like a transitional style, this being more of an industrial. So we had, we've talked about that in the past and some of our past webinars that we've held. What is your style, and talked about that. So it's neat to see how even the plumbing can be incorporated with that too. And in the next slide, we'll see possibly even a couple more different styles.
Yes, the farmhouse look is very popular because farmhouse sinks are very popular even in modern kitchens now. And so you want a faucet that's going to go with that style, and having that industrial vintage type look can coordinate really well with so many different styles. The vibrant brass finish is becoming more popular, and that is a trend right now. Gold kind of goes in and out. Gold and brass, it kind of goes in and out over the years. It was popular maybe, I don't know, maybe about 18 years ago, 15, 18 years ago, it came in. But it didn't last long because back then the fixtures were very hard to maintain. The cleaners weren't as good as we have today. The finish would rub off. But now they've all improved all that. So now brass and gold is back, and I think it's back to stay. And in fact, I just redid my own powder room, and we put in beautiful gold fixtures by Moen. So I was so excited about that because it's different.
And I guess with having the satin or the brush finishes too, that helps with hiding fingerprints, because when you've got the really shiny chrome, the ones that it just shows a lot too. So they've really improved the finishes too.
Yeah. Now I love chrome. I do, because I love shine. I love sparkle. And so I love chrome. But again, and I just wanted to mention with prices, because when you go shopping, you can walk in and fall in love with this vintage brass fixture over here and then fall over it at the price. So chrome is always going to be your most reasonable. And then stainless or brushed nickel is not much different, maybe 10%. But then when you start getting into these other colors like the matte black, the vibrant brass, oh, here we go. Thank you, Bob. Look at that. The oil rubbed bronze, all of these different colors, they are going to go up in price. And so that's another consideration for your budget. It is the jewelry. So again, if you want gold, you want, some of these more unique finishes, then you will be investing in them.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I guess too, like not only do you consider the plumbing finishes with the plumbing fixtures and how they're going to look and work. I guess you have to coordinate that with everything else that's in the kitchen, between your appliances, your hardware, your lighting. So how should people try to do that? I know a lot of people try to get everything to match. Is that necessary? How do you think about that?
As a designer, I'm not a matchy person.
Okay.
In my last powder room, right before we redid it, I had 3 different metals in there, and it looked great. Nobody ever came out of the powder room and was like, oh my goodness, there's 3 different metals in there. I mean, they all coordinated. It looked great. But yeah, you have to think of your style. Some people are very symmetrical. They're very matchy, and you know, that's what they want. But other times, if you can think outside the box a little bit, maybe if you have stainless appliances, do some chrome fixtures and put in a brass lamp. Why not? It looks great.
Okay. It's all about what looks good to you and what you enjoy, right?
Yes. And also with your fixtures, you want to coordinate it with your sink. So there's different types of sinks. You can do the enamel, you can do the granite composite or stainless. Stainless is probably still the most popular, but if you're getting into farm sink look, then a lot of people go for enamel. Granite composite is going to be so durable, and you can actually get that farmhouse look in a granite composite now and not have the worry of chipping that you have with an enamel sink. You can also get them in stainless, will come in that farmhouse look. So many different styles. Again, some people want a single sink, some people want divided. So as you can see, there's so many different small decisions that you need to make when putting a kitchen together. And that's why taking the time up front to work with a designer that goes through each one, they can make it simple, they can make it fun. They can, you know, in our company, at least, we shop with you. So you can ask us a million questions and we're going to walk you through to find the best decision.
Awesome. And just as a side note, do you see people still continuing to use top mount? Is that still, obviously it's an option for the manufacturers to sell it, but do you see a lot of that being installed?
Not very many top mounts. No. Okay. Most sinks are undermounted these days.
Okay. Good. And that's what we'll talk about next, is some of the undermount options. And
yes. So again, you have your sill granite, which actually is made similar to the way they make the countertops. You know, they take granite and they actually mill it down and crush it and make it and put resins in it and make it a very hard surface. And Sill Granite is actually a company that it makes sinks in many different colors. I've used this for many years now, at least, I don't know, maybe 10 or 15 years. And people who've had like even the white ones say, you know, they hold up so beautifully. They don't stain. It's great. Accessories are very, very popular now in many sinks. So having drain boards and strainers and things that you can actually put in your sink so that you don't have all these extra things you have to buy is great. And also with your stainless, a lot of them come now with bottom grids so that you're not scraping your pots on the bottom of the stainless and getting it all marked up. They have the grids that protect the bottom.
I guess like similar to wood countertops, stainless stainless steel sinks are eventually going to get scratched up. So you're going to have to get used to the patina that you're going to get with that. Yeah.
And also they come in different grades. They come in different thicknesses. Some are a lot of people say, we'll give them a price for a sink and they say, well, I saw one at a home center and it was half that price. There's a reason for that, because of the thickness of the stainless. And if it's very thin, it's going to sound very hollow and they're going to dent. So again, you're paying for the quality there. So, you know, that's another thing to talk over with a designer as they're helping you to choose things, is the durability factor.
Awesome. Well, the next thing we're getting up to, getting close to 11 here. So we're coming up to the, getting close to the end, and we've got a few other sections to run through. So we might want to speed it up a little bit, but the next thing we were going to talk about is some color temperatures for lighting.
Yes, lighting is a whole science in itself. And since I am not a scientist, I will speed through this one because I really do go to the experts when it comes to lighting, because they have studied it and they know everything that's available. out there to make everything that you put in your kitchen be the right color and the right warmth. It really does make a difference. And now with the warmer colors and cooler colors coming into play, the same kitchen can look very different. One of the things to keep in mind is if we go to the next one.
Sure.
Is the brightness of your kitchen.
I just wanted to point out one thing on this that it was always confusing to me a little bit, is that the cooler the colors get this way, the higher the temperature is. So it's a little it's not super intuitive that the higher the temperature, the cooler the color. So sometimes that can be a little bit confusing. And then, this is another source of confusion too, right? In the past, everybody equated watts with how bright things were, but that's not necessarily the case now.
Yes, now they talk about lumens, and that is used to measure the amount of light that a bulb produces. The higher the lumens, the brighter the light will be. In the past, we had incandescent lighting. We talked about wattage all the time. So now with the new LED bulbs, it's a different conversation, and there's so many more options out there. And brightness is really important, especially we had talked about aging. As we get older, our eye does not function as sharply as it did when we were younger. And having brighter kitchens is really important, having that brightness. And so each individual room should be talked about what type of lighting you want to have in that room, how bright it should be, and also what type of lighting you want. There's 5 different areas of lighting. So ambient lighting is like what you have up in the ceiling, the recessed lighting. It's an overall lighting for that whole room. Then you have pendant lighting, which, we put over islands. And even with the pendants, a lot of people are doing more industrial pendants, and they have a hard metal cover on them. Well, that's not going to shine light up to your ceiling. That's only going to shine down onto the surface of the island. The ones that are in the picture here, they have a shade on them. And so that light is able to light up the ceiling. And when you light up your ceiling, it makes the whole room look bigger. Then you have task lighting. So that would be like under cabinet lighting. So when you're cutting, you're preparing foods, you want to have enough light there that you can see everything that you're doing. Accent lighting could be like up in cabinets that have glass in them, so you can have some pretty dishes and things in there. That's accent lighting. And then mood lighting. You can actually put lighting underneath your countertops. You can put it at your kick plates, underneath your cabinets. There's all sorts of accents. This picture also has lighting. It looks like above the cabinets, behind the crown molding. So this particular kitchen has all 5 of these types of lighting. You may think that this is overkill. I know in my past kitchen, I had 2 pendant lights and a light over my table. That's all we had. And I thought it was plenty. We remodeled the kitchen. We put in the LED recessed lighting. We put in task lighting. We put in accent lighting, mood lighting. And I said to my husband, we have been living in the dark for 18 years.
You came out of the dark ages.
We have been living in the dark. And my whole kitchen, we didn't add any square footage to it. It looks so much bigger and brighter. And I actually want to be in my kitchen at night preparing dinner because I can see what I'm doing. Even my food looks better.
Did it help it taste better too?
Well,
No, I'm sure it did, Cindy. Yeah, and the other cool thing with having all these is you can like zone these things so that you can turn certain ones on, and it really creates a neat mood with how you turn things on or how you dim things too.
Well, even with smart houses, all the technology is there. So you can sit on your couch with your iPhone or your what's the other one?
Your iPad.
Yes. And you can turn on lights, you can turn off lights, you can raise them, lower them as far as how bright they are. It's just amazing. You can have them come on as you walk into the room and as you exit. You can
Yes.
have a little pad on actually embedded in the countertop that you can change the colors of the lights. So that's a whole nother conversation, is just in lighting.
All kinds of cool things.
Yes.
Well, this last section we're going to be talking about is kitchen flooring, and we're just going to be kind of talking about each one of these types of floor here and the considerations for them. So we'll just dive right into that and just start talking about the pros and cons, and we'll start out with LVT first.
So a lot of people are concerned in their kitchens, particularly about what type of flooring they should have, because they want it to be durable, they want it to be water resistant, and they want it to, of course, look beautiful and be affordable. And so it is a large space. And so LVT, or luxury vinyl tile, is what it represents, is the most popular thing out there right now. It is comes in all different types. You can make it, it looks like tile, it looks like wood planks. And the way it's made is that it is engineered to be very durable. Again, you can shop and look at the differences between LVT and other types of materials. It's softer to walk on. So if you have a bad back, it's much better for your back than maybe tile would be, because tile is so hard and cold. It's more resistant, more durable than hardwood, because if you've ever dropped a knife into hardwood, you know that it can scratch. If you're pulling chairs in and out, it's going to be leaving marks and scratching. So if you have big dogs, so all of those type of considerations, people are leaning more towards the LVT.
And then the next one is talking about hardwood, and I guess hardwood is still classic, and it's still, people still do like using it.
Yes, especially if you want to run it through the entire downstairs to have that more consistent look. It does make a room look larger if you have one floor throughout your whole floor instead of breaking it up into all the different rooms. And again, if you get hardwood, you can refinish it down the road. It's very durable, and it is costly. It does scratch, it does dent. So if I know I had a friend who had gotten new hardwood floors, and they were absolutely gorgeous until she had a party, and a lot of the women came with high heels, and there were little dents all over the floor.
Oh, goodness.
So, these are things that also you have to be aware of when you're buying hardwood, as to how hard it really is.
Yeah, and I guess if you have a dishwasher and that leaks or something spills and you don't notice it right away, it can damage it from that too. So you got to be really careful with where it's used.
Yes.
All right, the next is laminate flooring.
So laminate has gotten kind of a bad rap, I think, because the people think that it's old and it's not in style anymore. But you wouldn't be able to tell a laminate from a hardwood in a lot of cases. Laminate comes in planks. It also comes in sheets, like vinyl sheet goods. And I had vinyl sheet goods in my kitchen for 20 years. Loved it. It was so easy to maintain, just a Swiffer, looked great, looked like tile. Nobody realized it wasn't. We actually just replaced it with an LVT tile. So very durable, easy to clean, and the price is right. So this might be one area, if you are watching your budget, that you want to consider for the price, and also the look and the ease of installation.
Great. And then the last two sections are going to be talking about tile, and the first one is a natural stone tile.
So yes, you can get natural stone. I think in the picture, it almost looks like a slate tile. It is very long lasting. Again, it's porous. It does chip. It is expensive. The larger the tile, like the one in the picture here, these are very large tiles, and it is more expensive to install because most floors are not perfectly flat. And so you need to put, underlayment underneath it and make sure that it is as flat as possible. And also the maintenance, again, if you're aging and you don't want to be mopping floors, might be something you want to stay away from. even in this case with this slate look, slate, if it's real natural stone, your bottom of your feet will be black. So you have to be mindful of that. Don't have slate next to a white carpet.
Good point. And then the last section is ceramic tile.
And ceramic tile's been around forever. Again, you can get ceramic or porcelain. Porcelain's going to be more durable. And again, the larger the tile, the more flat your surface has to be. But it is affordable, and you can change the look of it by the grout, again, that you use. And it's the maintenance again. It is a hard surface, so you will be mopping that floor.
Yeah, and I guess it is a little bit more brittle too, right? So it's, if your floor settle, could possibly crack, and you're going to have a lot of grout lines in it too, right?
Yes, that's the main thing people complain about. Although grouts have gotten much better also these days. They actually have the stain resistance built into them.
All right, awesome. Well, that is going to end our webinar for today. I mean, if you do have any questions, please feel free to either, click at the bottom, raise your hand, type it in the Q&A. We'd love to hear from you. But this was a great webinar on talking about all of the different types of kitchen finishes there are. There's going to be a survey at the end too. We'd love to get your feedback and see what you thought, and we'd love to be able to hear from you so we can continue improving, continuing offering these things, so that we could offer these things so that everybody out there could have a great remodeling experience, whether you go with us or not. We just want to educate folks so you're aware of what's going on, aware of what all the products are out there, and we'd love to get your feedback. So anything going on out there, Max?
No questions as of now, but for the people who attended this also, if you can't think of something off the top of your head, but if you kind of look back after the webinar and you have some questions, you can always email us at wecare@ciprianibuilders.com. We'd love to answer your questions.
And the other question a lot of people have when they're first starting to think about remodeling their kitchen is, how much is it going to cost? And we're very open to someone having, calling us and just having a chat with one of our designers. They can give you parameters by asking you a list of questions as to what you're thinking of putting in your kitchen, just to give you that overall budget that you can start considering. So we are available for any type of questions or even price conversations that you would like to have. And thank you so much again for joining us. And I hope that you got a lot out of this. I know it was a lot.
It was a lot. And thank you so much for sharing, Cindy. You're a wealth of information. Thank you.
Thanks so much.
All right. Bye-bye now.
Bye.